What creates an engaging video game? Is it an unforgettable narrative that lingers in the mind long after the story itself has concluded? Perhaps it is the presence of memorable characters that distinguish themselves from others.
Hasta luego.
What if it's a unique artistic style captivating players, drawing them into its intricate designs? How about we consider the importance of attention to detail, which can be appreciated by those who take the time to observe closely. Lastly, does the gameplay itself possess a level of engagement that encourages players to revisit the game repeatedly? Well, all of these factors are what makes a good game great. Sifu is a game developed by Slowclap and released February 8th, 2022. Despite this game being over 2 years old, I just recently got around to finishing it, and I feel Sifu is definitely one of the best indie games I have ever played. Sifu's world building is able to capture all of these factors of what makes a compelling game into one IP. So let's break it down. If for whatever reason you still haven't played Sifu yet, then let me summarize the story real quick. You're playing as a vengeful young adult hunting down the 5 antagonists who are responsible for your father's murder. You waited 8 years, trained day and night, preparing yourself for this time to finally come. You're equipped with an ancient talisman that grants you life after death, meaning once you reach a game over, you're able to rise once more and continue your journey exactly where you left off. Now, the downside of that is, though, each time you resurrect yourself, you're trading your youth, meaning you get older every single time you die. You progressively get stronger as you age, however, your health itself will decline. Real quick, I'd also like to point out, when you're in the dojo seeking out your next hideout, the time of day changes with each hideout, alongside you being a candle in the lower right corner of your screen. Now, if you paid attention, you basically see that Sifu's story takes place in the span of one day. You are so mad, you are literally running across China, hunting down these powerful figures in hours. That alone is such a badass and interesting concept that this game gets an 8 out of 10 with that. If you pause your game, you can see the progress you made via the detective board. Here, you can see all the collectibles you've attained from each hideout while also learning more about the world of Sifu itself. Each level is connected to each other in one way or another. You can find information linking to a different hideout to explore areas or find secrets you weren't able to prior. This allows so much replayability, and you find yourself revisiting these locations to see what else you might have missed. Also, before we get into the really juicy stuff, I wanted to briefly mention the sound design in this game. The sound design is extremely well done. Each punch you give or receive packs such power to it.
Actual warrior.
The weapons sound sturdy and tough when swinging them around. The ambience and the atmosphere can be calming at times, especially when using photo mode. It feels so intentionally peaceful. On the opposite end of the spectrum, the atmosphere can be exciting and pump you up. My favorite example of this is when you're at the nightclub in a specific hallway. The lights go out and you hear the beat of the music, and then there's lights on the wall that go to the music's beat, and it just tickles my brain because it's being visually interesting while simultaneously sounding so awesome. But there is more. Of course, the game just keeps getting better. What did you think? The 5 antagonists you go up against are the botanist Fajar, the fighter Sean, the artist Koriko, the CEO Jin Feng, and lastly, the leader Yang. They each act as the final boss of their respected hideout. Leading up to the encounter with each boss, you get to learn about their character along the way through the environment itself. This skips the act of the game sitting you down and saying, "Hey, this is who you're going up against, and here's a 3-page essay about their background and their history," and there's no need for that, since the world itself is painting you a picture of who these characters are. Each choice made for their character design is well crafted and thought out. All of them boast a color scheme that clearly corresponds with their level, drawing upon rich traditions of Chinese color symbolism. This intentional use of color not only enriches the world, but also conveys the story powerfully, eliminating the need for dialogue to explain context to the player. I'll explain more about this later, but I just wanted to briefly mention that, but we will get back to it. Sifu is extremely artistic within its design, and as someone who's pursuing art as a career, I can't help but stop and appreciate the design choices in this game. Every destination you explore ignites the belief that such places shown can exist in the real world. The locations are always lively, with opportunities inviting exploration and appreciation of the often overlooked beauty in our surroundings. The museum hideout serves as my favorite example and my inspiration for wanting to discuss Sifu. Everything about this level is remarkable in its design. The museum is vast and maze-like, much like a true museum, allowing you to immerse yourself in the art and architecture, where even a wrong turn can lead to unexpected discoveries. I want to relate this to an actual experience I had in the past summer. My girlfriend and I went to the Smithsonian American Art Museum in DC, and we went all over that museum, seeing what interesting and historical exhibits it had to offer. We easily spent over a couple of hours in that museum, and if it wasn't for the fact my girlfriend grew up in the DC area and went to the Smithsonian often, I would have gotten lost from how giant that place was. Sifu's level design builds a believable world where you can immerse yourself within its creation. Now, back to the topic of color choices. Sifu uses an analogous color scheme. For what that means, it's when 2 or more colors are neighboring each other on the color wheel. So for example, red and orange, green and yellow, or purple and blue. This is different from a complementary color scheme because complementary colors are on the opposite ends of the color wheel. So red and green, blue and orange, purple and yellow. It's not just in film or games that you see these color schemes, and you see it in your everyday life. I mean, you look around, and once you see these things, you can't unsee it. And now you'll be a pretty cool art nerd like me going out in your everyday life and be like, wow, guys, that's a complementary color scheme or a monochromatic color scheme. That's pretty cool. And you'll be super cool and handsome or pretty, whatever you prefer. Impress your friends, guys, with this crazy cool fact that you learned today. Anyways, this analogous color scheme is present within the environment. Now, when looking at the significance of the color scheme for the characters and levels, we are going off the respectable Chinese interpretations and how they can be translated in the game. To start off, there's green for Fajar. Green is associated with nature, success, growth, energy, and luck. Fajar is literally a botanist who strategically uses plants such as bamboo against you in a fight. He is also a successful drug lord amassing vast amounts of dirty cash. It's clear from his appearance that he's a junkie, and he moves with such quick and erratic fighting style, he can be so unpredictable at times. Next, there is red for Sean. Red can symbolize power, fertility, passion, celebration, and life-generating energy such as the sun, blood, and or fire. Sean owns a nightclub. Traditionally, this is where people can relax by celebrating with dancing, drinking, and or hanging out with friends. However, deeper in the nightclub, Sean is also the leader of an underground fight organization. He himself possesses a fire element within his move style and is clearly passionate about the art of his techniques. The passion of fighting goes beyond Sean himself, and actually in the members of the fight club as well. You can see there's a room full of students working hard to achieve their goal of being the one selected in the ceremonial tradition, the burning.
Leave me alone. I have to train.
What did you reach? I hope I'll make it to the staff fight.
Moving on, there's blue for Koriko. Blue, depending on the tone, I've found can have different meanings. More mid-tone blue can signify harmony and tranquility. We are told and shown that Kuriko abandoned the life of violence and focused more on her art, which can be therapeutic to most people.
Turn around and leave now.
Interestingly enough, blue can also symbolize wood, which can be why we see so many wooden dolls present around her. This part could also be a stretch, but she does have weapons with metal blades, but the handles themselves are wood, and you can tell by the way it sounds when it smacks the ground. Darker tones of blue, closer to black, signify wisdom and stillness. When entering the second half of the museum, you are transported into a dark, almost black room, but arguably the tone is a very dark shade of blue. Regardless, you can hear Kuriko's voice talking about how water can cleanse the soul.
And the cleansing of a darkened soul. Water is the key to being reborn.
It is considered redemptive in nature.
And in a later room, she talks about how the mind is a lot like an iceberg.
It floats with 1/7 of its bulk above water.
Our consciousness is merely the tip of the iceberg.
Also, you might be thinking to yourself, wow, you must be really good. You barely aged during that fight. Hate to be that guy, but I'm playing on the student difficulty, which is the easiest mode, and my experience was still like...
I'm letting you know now, these hands are rated E for everyone, so just cause you a woman, don't think I ain't about to beat your ass. Oh my god. Damn! Oh my god. How is she so fast? This is insane!
Yeah. Anyways. Moving forward is yellow/gold for Jin Feng. Yellow can symbolize high standing or royalty, humbleness, humility, and spiritual growth. Jin Feng is the CEO of her own company. Her office is on the top floor of the building. In the lobby, you can see her being labeled as one of the most powerful women in the world, economically speaking, and also in fighting terms. She is also humble because despite her status, she is still a people person at heart. And you can see that in the artwork of her present holding children of color. On the idea of humility, you can say it's me because she's an elder with one arm and she's still being the everlasting crap out of me. Lastly, there is white for Yang. White signifies new beginnings, clarity, renewal, and focus. Yang's hideout is literally called the Sanctuary. The hideout is a place for people to heal the broken. People are coming here to cleanse themselves and start anew.
Your treatment has been prepared.
There is even a man you can walk up and talk to, and he tells you about how this place heals people and have them leaving in a better state they came in.
Everyone who comes here leaves this place free of what they walk through those doors with. Even the ones with time no longer on their side. People just like you and me.
I hope you find what you're looking for.
Thank you.
This is a place for new beginnings, and is also the final hideout of the game, so you will literally be starting over after the final fight. Also, it's a little ironic, but Yang is the only enemy in the entire game you cannot use your focus bar on. It just says you can't focus him, which is such a good subtle touch. I just love it. Sifu is a phenomenal game, and I've thoroughly enjoyed going into the details about this game and what makes it stand out from other indie titles. From the little details like the sound design and the more in-your-face topics like its action-packed gameplay, there is something for everyone here to appreciate. Sifu is a perfect example of what makes a good game great, and with Amazon Prime coming out with its series Secret Level dedicated to one of its episodes to Sifu, it's clear I'm not the only one who thinks this. I'm excited to see what Amazon will have to offer and expand upon an already interesting idea. Again, if you haven't played Sifu, I highly recommend you give it a shot. This game stands the test of time and will continue to do so in the future as well.
I did it!